Okay.
Hi, I just hit record. How are you?
Okay.
Is this
Um,
Angela?
this, yeah.
This
This
is
is the Purge meeting for Twin Sisters Network and for another exciting episode of Andrea and Angela. Go for
Yes.
it, Angela.
I didn't wear the zipper jacket today, so we shouldn't have any microphone issues.
Oh gosh. We had so much fun last time on the last show. We want to welcome any new listener. New. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Peeps,
Never mind. You go for
welcome, peeps, to our purging episode.
it.
Do
Oh
you have the
man.
urge to purge?
Oh my
I've
gosh.
so been wanting to say that. I keep trying to find it situation where
Oh
I can be like,
man.
do you have the urge to purge? Well, let's talk about purging.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that you go through of being a twin flame is not the not the easiest thing either. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not. It just depends on how much you're releasing and how much you know, the day by day thing.
I don't ever think it feels too easy. Like, I guess sometimes it's not as intense or as other times. Sometimes it's more subtle. Um, and sometimes it's more feels, it's weird because it's emotional, but it feels painful, you know?
Yeah.
I guess
Oh yeah.
emotions can be painful, but um, I've had some times where I thought, this really sucks, basically. Or like
Oh
I'm in so
yeah.
much pain, like my heart hurts, like oh, and there was that one time when I was like, I'm in a lot of pain, and before that, I had been experiencing physical pain, and you would ask me, "Where's the pain?" And you would see like there was a psychic attack or something, and then we'd work on clearing the psychic attack for the physical pain. But then that big one that I had, an emotional purge, I was like, felt like I'm in so much pain emotionally. And I told you I was in pain, and you said, "Where does it hurt?" And I was just like, "It's emotional," like purging heartbreak or something. Um, I had to go through that whole, like, trying to let my emotions come up, ones that I had stuffed down so hard for so long that it actually felt painful to me when they wanted to come out. So, but you know a lot about purging, Angela, because you've been going through a lot of extra purging lately.
Oh yes. For those twin flames out there, new ones are ones that's been in the journey for a while. When you start getting the ones that are coming together in 3D union, right? But when you start getting closer to your union, you will go through like it's kind of like an accelerated purging because when you come together, your love and your energy is going to be so strong that the more it's been released, the more it's been cleared. It's kind of like you're getting purified for your twin flame, so that when you come together, you can complete your mission, and there won't be as much. The more you clear, the less stuff you have to deal with when you finally come together in 3D. But to me, purging. Till this year, I didn't really know what I had been going through purging for 6 years, but I didn't know what it was called. But now this year, I found out it's called purging. So to me, purging is healing yourself, and when you heal yourself, you heal your twin, and so, vice versa. And when one twin's purging, the other one will sometimes feel the effects of it, or both at the same time. But it's I mean, you may have one day that you may be able to say, okay, you acknowledge something, you release it into the night, and then the next day, you might be crying 1 minute, going through all these different things coming up, and you may have things that you didn't know that you needed to release. They just keep coming up. The more you release, It's like you'll think, okay, I've overcome this problem, and then it'll come back up again. I'm like, why is this coming back up again? I thought I healed this, but it's a process, and we don't do. It's not something that you do overnight, but
sometimes you do it overnight.
Yeah, you can. But I'm getting close to union, and I can talk from experience that. You've been really. Everything gets mirrored back to us. Yeah, it's just. I appreciate the purging because I know that when I purge or when I clear or when I release things, that it brings me that much closer to Him. And when I heal and clear myself, I'm clearing Him too.
Yes.
Which is neat. And another thing you can do is we watch Ramey and Jill, Twin Flame Healers, and he always makes a comment or before you watch a video or whatever to set an intention. And what was I going to say?
You were talking about Jill and Ramey.
Yeah.
He always makes a comment.
Oh yeah. He said, if you want, and when you do the healing, say you watch one of their videos or a Twin Flame video, set the intention, say I'm doing this for me and my twin. That way, when you go to clear and you release or you purge, you are helping yourself come in you, and you're helping your twin heal at the same time, simultaneously, basically. And it's amazing how much that you'd be amazed how much stuff that you have to purge. Oh my gosh! And there'll be that you have good days and bad days. And there'll be days like, oh my gosh. And if you don't have it, if you're a twin flame and you don't have anybody that you can talk to about it, you don't like when I first started, I didn't even know what a twin flame was. It's just been a process, and it's a soul connection. But the divine has a lot to do with orchestrating things too, synchronicity and things like that. But it's just layer after layer. You'll clear one layer, and it's like, okay, I've overcome that, and then here comes something else up. It's like it's the constant relief, not constant, but it's purging. That's one of the things in the twin flame journey that we really don't like to do, but it's part of it. We've got to heal so we can heal others and heal our twin. And when we're healed and whole, then we can lead others. And that's one reason me and Andrea is here, because for so long, we've only known each other 5 months, but it feels like a lifetime. But she didn't have it for a long time. She didn't have anybody to talk to. She couldn't go to her family because you can't just talk to anybody about the twin flame journey. If they don't know what you're talking about, I mean, they might say you're crazy. So we have to kind of
keep. They will say you're crazy.
What's very empowering is when we connected, it was like instant. I know it was a divine bringing us together. I mean, it was instant connection, and ever since that connection, when I connected with her, it made my twin flame and our connection even stronger. So we're here to help everybody, and we'll accept you as you are. We don't judge you. But this twin flame journey is not easy, but evidently we signed on to it before we came here.
Yeah.
So when we heal, when you heal one, we're all connected. When you heal yourself, you're helping the twin flame collective consciousness as well.
Yeah, I think that was something I was so surprised about last year when I did a session with Jill and Ramey, Twin Flame Healers at .com. There's a little plug for them. I did it. I went ahead and spent the money and did a session with them because I just was like, I need to find out what's going on with me. I feel so unable to control how I'm feeling and what's happening. And I was having telepathic communication with my twin flame, but then I would see things on social media that would contradict what I thought my perception was of what was happening, and I would just be like, oh my God, I feel nuts, and it was basically, I found out I was communicating with my twin's higher self, and but I would have things happen to me before that where, say I would watch a movie, and I'm always attracted to love stories that kind of now I realize are similar to my twin flame story. And one day when I was watching Mel from Gold Ray Twin Flames, he was saying that look at what love stories you're attracted to. They probably mimic, I looked and I was like, oh my God, all the love stories that I like totally are along the same kind of storyline as my twin flame journey. Like, you meet the person and you think you don't like them, but then you realize they're the one for you and you're in love with them and you can't get together with them because of circumstances making you have misunderstandings. And I used to cry. Like I would cry. It was to the point where I couldn't go see any sad movies with other people or watch them with other people. That were that kind of love story, because I would just bawl my head off. And that's what we say here in the South. I don't know if other people say that, that cry that hurts you. You're crying so hard, and I would just cry and cry and cry and be like, what is wrong with me? I don't know, I'm so sad. And the last time that happened to me after I started having my ascension symptoms, and then I watched, I think it was The Notebook, and at the ending, it was so sad. Like I just cried so freaking hard, and I was like, why is this upsetting me so this badly? And I couldn't stop, and I'm pretty sure I was crying so loud that my neighbors outside the house could hear me, even though I had the windows closed.
I was thinking to mention The Notebook because that's
I could never watch that movie ever again. Oh my God.
That's one of his favorite movies. I was thinking, you said Notebook, I was thinking about it. Girl.
No, but I cried so hard that it like hurt me, and I was just like, and I even yelled out loud, I miss my soul family. Like I'm so lonely, and I miss them. And I was just like going, oh my God. I considered that a purging, purging. And anyway, back to the Jill and Ramey thing. I just thought I'd mention that because that was the last, before my appointment with them, that was my last huge, what I considered purging. I would have that happen to me a lot though, where I would just cry so hard, or like, especially when my daughter would go to her dad's and I'd be here by myself, I would just start crying, and I would be like, I feel like part of me is missing, like not just her, but I've always felt that way. Even since I was a kid, I felt like part of me was missing. And I would cry about it a lot. And after I met my twin, even when I went to live at the Yoga Institute, because I thought, I wanted to find a way to quit feeling like I was crazy, all those thoughts. And if you listen to the recording, you'll hear me talk about all the fears and the thoughts that I had, constantly thinking I was crazy and felt crazy. And worrying people thought I was crazy, and all the dark energies and stuff. But go back and listen to that one if you want to hear that story. But I was at the Yoga Institute, and I cried every night that I was there. And that was a purging too. I was like purging all that darkness out of me. And I had a feeling like that's what I was doing, but I didn't know how to formulate what I was doing into cohesive thoughts about what I was doing, into conscious thoughts of like, I'm doing this and it's enhancing my spirituality. I kind of thought that's what was going on, but I didn't have those clear thoughts about what I was doing, the spiritual purging. I just knew that it hurt and I had to get it out. And I would cry every night, and I would imagine him and my other soulmate coming and getting me in a limousine and taking me away from there. And I used to even say prayers, being like, please just come and get me, And people felt so sorry for me. They didn't know how to help me. I'd just cry. And crying seems to be a major way that I purge, and a lot of people do that. I've had times where at, say, a job that I would have, I would just be overwhelmed by sadness, and I would just have to go in the bathroom and cry. And even before I knew what to do at this job that I have now, I would be in my little cubicle crying. I sound like such a sad person. I promise to you that there were times when I didn't cry. But my other job that I call the prison job, I sat in a little tiny room by myself there. I cried a lot. I would just have times where I would just have tears rolling down my eyes. And when I used to do yoga a lot, I would be in the relaxation pose, and that tears would just roll out of my eyes sometimes, and I was really kind of disconnected from my feelings then, in a way, during the day. And I think it was a self-defense mechanism, because I was so afraid of all the dark feelings that I had, and I didn't know how to get rid of them, and I think that's how my body was trying to get rid of them. But I used to, every time I would do a relaxation or meditation, my tears would just roll out of my eyes. I don't mean to sound like I'm laughing about it, because it's just, when I'm not really laughing, I'm kind of laughing at the situation because it seems so silly now. But after Jill and Ramey, they taught me how to do the clearings. After I started watching their videos, I was like, this really resonates with me, and it gave me so much peace. And then when they had as I watched the videos, some of their videos said, you can do these clearings for your twin. And I was so amazed to hear that. Like, oh, I can do that, even though, and I would think, but I'm not with him. I don't talk to him. And they were like, you can ask your twin's higher self if it's okay. And I did that, and it was like, my twin's higher self was like, yes, immediately. And I was like, okay, so I just started doing it, and it gave me like double the peace then, and it felt so good, and I could tell a difference. And then after my session with them, they said, everyone asks, is it okay to do this for your twin flame? Like, don't they have free will? And they were like, everybody asks that, which is interesting, because people are so nice, they're so nice. Like, they don't want to trample on someone else's free will of their divine beloved who they're eternally connected with, And anyway, so I started doing that, and I just really decided I'm not going to do it with any intention but to heal everyone. And then I started feeling the connections I started doing it for my daughter, because I was like, well, she's obviously my soulmate, and family members. And I just started, every time I thought to do it, I said, well, why don't I ask for so-and-so? Well, why don't I ask for so-and-so? And I expanded the healing to all these people I felt connected to. And it gave me so much peace. And now, then after I talked to them, they were like, yeah, as long as you can just ask everyone's higher self, whoever you want to do healing for. And I started doing that. And then whenever my twin started communicating with me through Angela, because she's a psychic medium, he said, like, he thanked me for the energy work and stuff, and he said that it made a difference. And whenever I had moments where I was doing some major purging, he would tell me through Angela that he was also going through the purging at the same time, and then he would encourage me, and he would say, keep doing it because you're helping both of us. As you go through it, I go through it, and as I go through it, you go through it. And that was a really long explanation to get to that point, but I just wanted to say that because that amazed me when I found out, like, that we do it with each other. It's simultaneous, and it lifts us up, and we move up a level higher and higher and higher. And I just thought that was really, really cool. Even though the purging feels yucky.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, that's really cool that it's like a shifting. It's like one time I pictured, you're birthing out of this goo, and like then as you're lifting up, you grab the other person's hand and you pull them up out of it too. And then they pull you up a little higher, and then you pull them up a little higher. That's how I pictured it in my head anyway. But I've actually seen Angela and her twin doing that with each other. Like, one of them, I'll see when I'm doing energy work, I'll be like, I see this block or something going on, energetically. And then, we'll do healing work. And then it will be like, then you see the energy moving smooth after that. And it's really cool because it's like we all help each other. We all move as a unit in a way. If somebody's stuck, part of the unit isn't flowing properly. So sorry that took me so long to describe that, but I was thinking about that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. She's an excellent healer, energy healer. She mentions the 5D, and when we first connected, I had never experienced it. I had heard people talk about,
Yeah.
But one day we had decided to do a meditation together, and I was like, oh man, I've actually got to see it. And then I even documented it and sent it to her, and well, it is just neat. It's like when you meet with another twin flame, they don't have to be, they're twin flame friends, or me and her are like sisters, but the energy will bounce back and forth. And Archangel Michael, give him some credit because he's part of the divine.
Oh yeah.
He kind of got this thing that me and her probably would have never thought we would have been sitting here talking. I'm doing a conference call because, when we first met, we were just talking and everything. Ever since then, me and her have accelerated our growth. I went to stay with her, had never met her before. My family was a little bit scared, but anyway, I went to stay with Andrea for about a month. And while I was there, oh my gosh, we got so much healing and so much purging. And then I would get downloads, and they were so emotional that it would bring us to tears. It's very beautiful. And but we've come a long ways in our own twin flame journeys because we're helping each other as the same as when you help one, you help all. You know. And
exactly.
But I was not a bad. This is one of the things she got. Now, one thing about Andrea, she gets told something because I kept deflecting, but I didn't realize it. She would bring something up and she'd say, "Well, why do you feel that way?" I said, "I don't know." And I kept deflecting stuff and not dealing with it. And one day, she just let me have it. She would not give her. We were talking about something. I can't.
It makes me feel a little bit bad.
She said, I don't know. I just kept bringing something up, and she said, "But why do you feel that way? Why are you feeling that way?"
Keep asking why. I made her dive deeper.
A friend, I had gotten hurt by somebody, and it bothered me. And by her staying on me about it, before I was through, I was in tears. And her staying on me, saying, "Hey, where's this coming from? Why are you feeling this way?" She calls me to purge, and after I cried about it and got it out of my system, I felt so much better,
Yeah.
But, while you're going through it, and you may not even want to, sometimes she doesn't really want to, she feels like that she doesn't want to hurt my feelings or anything, but at the same time, she pushes me to where I have to deal with it, but that's actually helping me because it's purging. And there's another thing that we need to mention is triggers. You'll get triggered by different things. It could be so many different things, and the triggers will also help you to purge and clear.
Yeah.
And but me and her being able to talk to each other helps so much.
That's what a trigger is in my book.
Yeah.
Something that forces you to either look at yourself or look at something you need to work on or look at something you need to purify, or because purging is like getting something up and out, right? Like up and out. Like there's this one website when we were going to do this, Angela suggested, well, maybe we should define what purging is for newer people who they've never heard of it and they don't know what we're talking about. And I said, well, there's probably lots of definitions on the internet about purging, and all of them basically, they had different descriptions of purging, but it basically all, the gist is you get it up and out. You pull it out of something, you throw it up out of something. One website I was looking at was talking about like volcanoes or, like storms, like a volcano spews that up and out of it. And I was just talking about, they were talking about how the planet purges things,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And, they even suggested it's like emerging like a butterfly. You go and go through a process, and when you come out, you're like more beautiful than you were before, or something like that. That's how I took it when I read it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's like getting it up and out, because things that stay down inside fester and cause wounds and illness, and especially emotional things, if you stuff them and stuff them and stuff them. And if you believe in multiple lifetimes and that sort of thing, you could imagine how many lifetimes you might go if you're stubborn enough, stuffing and stuffing and stuffing and carrying around emotional baggage that you don't even need anymore. It's like, oh, somebody hurt me how many lifetimes ago, and I'm still upset about it. And I was even thinking about that, like when I had my C-section, I was so upset that they did that to me, because it was not voluntary. That for years, I still talked about it with like an anger in me about it. Like I still had a bitterness and anger in me every time I talked about the people that did that to me, like they did that to me and I didn't want that, and they messed up my body and blah, 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 blah. And then every time someone would say, why didn't you sue them? Every time. And I would be like, I didn't have any money. And then I was mad about that. And if I would have had money, But the fact is, it happened to me. And I needed to look at it more like, okay, how did I get there? Okay, figure that out. Move on to the next step. How am I going to heal from it? Okay, figure that out. Do the steps. Move on to the next step. I healed from it. Now I need to let it go, instead of holding on to all the emotions around it. Because the actual act of the C-section was long gone over with, 9.5 years ago. So it's like the emotional part of it, though, is stuck with me. And I did have physical pains and things left over from the effects of it. So that every time I would have problems because of that surgery, it would reenact the emotion, and I would have to revisit it again. And I probably should have explored more deeply where those emotions came from, instead of it's just those people did something to me, but, and that's why when I was doing the teal swan, she calls it the completion process now. It used to be, like dark night of the soul and that sort of thing, but her final name for it is right now is the completion process, where you find out why, if you're holding on to something so deeply and so intently, you try to go past that thing that you think it is and find out what it really is and heal the thing that it really is. Like if you think somebody is abandoning you, if you're like, I needed that person and they weren't there for me. When I went to ask them for help, they were doing drugs or something like that. And then in your mind, you get a reeling off on this emotional upset about that person, like, cares about drugs more than me. They weren't there for me. The one person I really needed, and all things. And really, when you go back, you go, when did I first feel that kind of abandonment? Why is it upsetting me so much I can't let go of it? Because what that person is doing really should have no bearing on how I feel, not that strongly, and not for that long to where you can't get over it, and it rules your day, and it rules your whole body and your whole emotional state. It's basically digging down deeper and bringing all that stuff out and really truly like letting go of it so that you can free yourself. See, I always said in some of the other videos that I always felt like it's like when you're upset, it's your body showing you, here, your mind and your body and your whole being showing you, here's the imbalanced thing that you need to work on and purifying, so it's like, wow, you're like really upset because you think you're being abandoned, but really you're just sitting there in the same place you were before, and no one has abandoned you. You're not on some island somewhere and no one dumped you there and didn't leave you with any food or water. You're at your house and you're doing the same thing you were doing in hours before you had that feeling, but your mental state is what takes you there, and your emotional state. So once you can work out, where is that mental state? How did you get there? Where did this emotional state imbalance come from? Maybe not from the person that you needed someone to talk to and they couldn't talk to you because they were stoned, It's not about them. It's about that you needed something that you couldn't get. And where did that come from? Where did that original pain come from when you needed something you couldn't get? And why is it that you need someone else to give it to you? Like, why aren't you able to give it to yourself? And when did that first wound happen that made you feel like you couldn't give yourself something? Could go back to when you were a baby and you were left in a dark room with the door shut. No one came check on you even though you're crying, But, sometimes you have to go through the top layers of gunk that's on top of the real you, and work your way down to the lower layers. And when you get to the real you, there's peace and love, and you're like, I'm okay, And I don't know. Did I say too much stuff all at once?
No, we were for some reason, forgiveness had cut when you were talking about purging. You need to part of purging is I would think is letting go of things that no longer serve you. And when you're purging, your life is going to change. You're going to, the more you purge, your vibration is going to change. You're going to attract different people into your life. Because it's happened to me. Your diet may change. You may want to relocate. The things that you were interested in before, you won't be interested in. You're on a journey, a spiritual awakening. That's why there's other, if you're going through this and you have nobody to talk to, you have no twin flame support, it makes it even harder and more difficult. So me and her coming together is helping each other as friends, helping each other as twin flames, but also helping our own twin flame journey individually. And at the same time, she does a lot of excellent energy work in 5D and 3D, and she does it for everybody. She does it for the soul group, the extended soul group, and I think that's she looks at when she sees somebody. I can kind of you get people that will say negative things. Instead of her returning negative back, she says, "Okay, what in this person? Maybe I need to do some energy healing on behalf of that person, so that whatever's causing them, like anger, needs to be dealt with." She usually knows what it is. And of course, like she said, you have to ask the person's higher self, and it makes a difference because lots of times people will be saying other things about other twin flames or even their own twin flames, and not realizing that whatever is annoying them or bugging them about their twin, it's being mirrored back to them. Something in them that something triggers you. There's a reason. It's back and forth. You can mirror things back and forth, and if you're lots of times when you're saying negative things about somebody or a twin flame, it's because you're
not looking at your own stuff. You're focusing on their stuff, and you can't see your own stuff. It's so much easier to see what everyone else is doing or blame it on them. It's just like when I was going through that major purging about my twin flame journey, and both my twin flame and Angela were both sending me the message, you've been running away from yourself for so long, and you need to do this inner child work. And it pissed me off at first because I was like, no, you're white. Because I was sitting there saying, why can't I? Oh my gosh, here we go with the congestion. Sorry. Every time I try to talk about this stuff, I get congested. I was sitting there saying, like, why can't I just forgive it and go on? Like, why am I stuck in this unforgiving place? And why do I feel like somebody needs to make amends to me, for me to get over it? Somebody needs to show me that they're trying to fix it for me, and I listened to myself talking while I was saying that, but I was so in the emotion, and I was so buried down deep in it, I couldn't see. And they just kept after me and kept saying, we really can't help but feel like you have this inner child wound that you need to work on. And so I decided to go and meditate about it for a while, but I was so miserable while I was going through that, and I was in misery. I was just like so sad. I just felt like I'm going to die or something, and maybe I would rather not do this. And and then when I worked on it, it was like I was able to release it by tracing back. Okay, why do I feel like somebody needs to make amends to me? Why do I feel like my twin flame needs to give me something, or I won't feel better about it, because I feel like my twin flame did this to me or did that to me. The truth is, out of all these lifetimes, thousands of lifetimes we've probably done, I probably did something too. I just don't remember it. I probably did things too that weren't great or that hurt. Even in this lifetime, when I rejected him, maybe that hurt him, but I only see my side of it, of what I feel like somebody did to me that made me so angry I carried it through lifetimes, and rejected the one true pure thing in my life, that could have made me so extremely happy. And no. Sorry, my dog. Oh my goodness. He broke my concentration there.
That's okay.
Maybe that was...
Which one was it? Lulu or
Pedro.
Romeo? Or
It's Romeo.
Oh, okay, I call him. She calls him Pedro, but I always call him, when I was there, I would call him Romeo because he was such a little lover.
He's a stinker is what he is.
That's okay. It'll make this meeting a little bit more interesting.
Maybe that was the angels going, okay, you can get off that now. You're done.
Animals are pretty cool.
I'm a big animal lover, but sometimes I'm like, why are you a pain? And you smell bad. They probably think that about me. Yeah. Anyway, I think I said enough about all of that. But
that was a plug for Pedro.
Pedro. He's also called King Dog. King Dog. He gets his way.
He said, "Mommy,
let me out, woman. Feed me.
Yeah.
I need to snuggle now." Okay, dog break. Dog humor break. But as far as that part of the purging went, that was a big lesson for me, because that was like, that was huge for me. Like, that was to the point where I was trying to revert back to my old way of doing things, and I was trying to run away again, and I was trying to avoid the pain, because that's the main reason we resist purging, I think, is we want to avoid pain as human beings. We want to be like, no, I don't want to do that thing. It's making me uncomfortable, and it makes me feel bad, and I don't want to. No, just be like, I'm going to go over here and do something else instead of pushing through the gunk and get to the other side where it's all nice,
Yeah.
But it's like, after I let go of that, it was like my heart was so much more open and so able to hold so much more love. Whereas before, that was like a door that was closed over my heart. It's just the fear. I think purging is also about letting go of fear.
Exactly.
Also, what you said about forgiveness, it made me think of that quote that I've said before, that from when I was listening to Lee and Sherry from Relationship Reinvented. Lee, he says some cool stuff sometimes. And he said, forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past can be changed. And when he said that, I was like, whoa, it really is that really is what it is. Because, and then I was saying that before, and one of the other things I was talking about, that, like the past doesn't really exist anymore, and the future isn't here yet. So neither one of them exist except in our mind.
Right.
The past is about thinking about memories, and a lot of times our memories aren't even correct. They're based on false belief systems, or some physical parts of them might be correct, but it's just like that game that people play where they sit in a circle and somebody whispers something and it goes all the way around, and it's always this changed when it gets back around the end of the circle. It's never the same. So a memory is probably a lot like that. By the time you remember it, however many years later, it's not exactly this, it's not the same memory. It's like, there's a person in my family that he's older. Sometimes he talks to me about yeah, this happened 50 years ago or whatever. And I know the other person's side of the story. And this person did this to me and that to me. And I'm like going, that's not the other side of the story I heard, you know. And he's, for all these years, held on to this idea that something wrong happened to him 50 years back when, according to the other person and a couple of other people, that's not what happened, you know. And he's never let go of it. And I learned a lesson from him about him every time he retells that story to me, with the sadness he has about it. I would be like, oh my gosh, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want to sit around thinking, you know, having something rule my life and my thinking and my emotions that didn't even really happen, you know, just because you can't let go of it. And so I talked about that in one of the other talks on here, but I just think that's interesting. Finally, the last time I finally said to him, look, I've heard this story from several other people and they don't have the same version as you. And he was shocked to hear that. But I finally had the guts to say something I'd wanted to before. And then he kind of quit talking about that story after that, because I think he realized that maybe he was wrong, you know. But that was a form of purging too. If you cleanse yourself of something that, even a belief system that you've held on to that's been holding you back and keeping you from becoming your best version of yourself. It's like, if you get past that, you know, invisible shield you've created that's keeping you from moving higher, then all of a sudden you move higher and you're like, oh, all I had to do was get rid of that invisible shield I created on myself. And now I can fly. Did that even make sense?
I don't know. Me and her had so much fun. Oh my gosh.
Sometimes I'm talking and then I'm like, I know that made sense to me, but maybe it didn't make sense to anyone else.
No, Lordy. We're just being natural and just had it by the ear or whatever, however you say that. She calls it improv, okay. Improv purging. This is improv purging here.
Improvisational purging.
The twin flame journey is, a lot of people look at it as a negative, but lots of times there'll be, okay, say something negative comes up. And like she said, we don't want to face it, but it depends. Sometimes something negative is really not negative. It's how you look at it, or your perspective. If you change your perspective, it can be a blessing in disguise, especially if it brings up things that you need to deal with. The more you clear, the more you heal, the closer you get to union. If you're supposed to come into union in this lifetime,
totally true.
And you heal yourself, you heal the twin flame collective conscious. We're all here to do work, whatever we come here to do, and we're here to be unconditional love. We're not here to point fingers. We're not here to judge. We're not the twin flame police.
Also, if you're sitting around going, you know, if you're sitting around looking at all these other people and going, that person is choosing blue, and that person is doing this, and that other person is doing that, and screw all of you guys, and I'm pissed at everyone, and you all suck, and you're making my life hell, and you know, and that person's doing this, and that person did that. You're spending your whole day basically ignoring what you need to do and not doing anything but creating negative thought forms into the world. And you're basically making things harder on everyone, because you're sitting around pointing your finger at everyone going, you did this to me, you made me feel that way, you're making me uncomfortable, I don't like the way you look, blah, 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 you know. And meanwhile, your life's falling apart behind you because you're ignoring everything, and you're not nurturing your own world. You're just creating more drama for your own world for you to clean up later, you know. And I've done it. I did it for a lot of years, and we all do it. But if we can all get to a place where we do that a lot less, it's going to help everyone, because as you move up and lift yourself up and become happier and become more pure and clean your emotional states up, and work on trying to stop being a slave to every single emotion that wafts past you like the wind. It's like you're going to help everyone. We all help each other. We all, it's like John Ramey always say, if you cleanse and purify for your twin, you lift yourself up, because you're one being, really. I did it, and I've seen other people doing it, where they're like, that person makes me unhappy and they're making me uncomfortable. Like with my twin, I was like, that person pisses me off and I don't know why, but I'm pissed off at them. And I'm going to ignore them or run away from them or think bad about them, because they're the ones making me uncomfortable and ruining my life, or whatever. And not even knowing why sometimes that I felt that way. And just like, if they're making me upset, there's something wrong with them. And I will avoid them and stay away from them or curse them or whatever. Instead of having the attitude of like, wow, they're a reflection of me. And if I want them to be healed, if I want to be healed, I can heal them also, and it will help uplift me and heal something in me as well. Like I even now that once I found out, oh, I can do healing and clearing for other people, cool. As long as I don't have bad intention, cool. I just started asking for it for whoever. If I had, I just did the homeless people, I'd be like, real quick, be like, can I help your 3D self? They'd be like, yeah. Try to imagine them connecting their lower self to their higher self, and imagine Archangel Michael coming and cutting them free of all the negative entities, and imagine higher beings coming and whisking away all those negative entities, and then creating healing energy around them as protection. And I'd do that driving down the street. And then I would be like, cool, that's awesome, And then later I realized every time I did that, I was helping myself, because unintentionally even, because I was creating a pure love. I was exhibiting unconditional love for that person at that moment. And I didn't even at first realize I was doing that. I just wanted to do it, so I did it. I'd be like, why can't I ask for this for everyone? Yeah, I'm going to do that. Why can't I ask for all the children to be protected? Yeah, I'm going to try that. Why not, But I had to purge all the negativity and darkness out of me first. And I'm not saying I did all of it, because is that possible? I don't know. But I had to really get real with myself at first and just be like, okay, I have to quit lying to myself, number one, about other people are doing all these things to me and I'm just a victim. I had to get myself out of victim mentality, and purging does that. Is you getting yourself out of victim mentality, really. And it's like I talked about that one morning when I saw something that triggered me. I'm the one that looked for that thing on the internet, and then I didn't look for that exact thing that I saw, but I'm the one that went looking on the internet. I'm going to look this up. Then I saw something I didn't like, and all of my insecurities were triggered. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. This was in relation to my twin flame, of course, but it wasn't about him. You see how all of those things I said before, I would be like, not good enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough for him. before I would feel it kind of blaming that person. When you say for him, you're blaming the other person in a way for the things you need to work on. Because when I said those things, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, not good enough, I realized why do I think, I had to go to the place where I was like, why do I think that about myself? Didn't even have anything to do with him. When I got real with myself and said, okay, I need to quit just blaming it on somebody else. And I need to look at, why do I feel that way about myself? You know, where is that coming from? It's got nothing to do with him. This is something, because there are plenty of other people that are females who feel perfectly good about, who look maybe just like me, and they go for what they want. They don't feel that way about themselves, or if they do, they don't show it, you know. Or it's like, why is it that I feel that way about myself? And then when I got real about that, quit blaming other people for the things that I was letting myself feel about me and the things I was ignoring about me. Then I made progress. Then I was able to like let it come up and out of me. And I did have to cry about it, and I did have to go through even a grieving stage where I was like, I did this to myself all these years and kept myself from being a better person and living up to my potential. And oh gosh, there I go. It's your turn, Angela.
Oh gosh. One thing, some people, they may not even be consciously aware that what they're doing. And actually what happens is sometimes one twin flame will trigger another, because say one person is really, the light will draw out the darkness.
Yes.
And it shines. Okay, what happens is it's like it reflects back. Okay, you got one twin, not twin flames, like twin flame friends or something. It works with, like, me and her, we're twins, and we mirror things back to each other. And she can see things that I can't see in myself, or vice versa. But a lot of times when you say something, they'll get a trigger, and they're deflecting it. They don't want to face it because there's something inside of them that's not right.
Yeah.
So they just cut you off. But what they're actually doing is cutting their own self off, not dealing with what they need to deal with personally. You know, they're running from their self again. You know, and they don't even realize it. You know.
Yeah. And really, there's nothing wrong with with any of us in our purest form. We're perfect in my opinion, in our purest form. But it's all this stuff we're not willing to look at, and all this stuff that, like, for instance, I work with this woman that's about my same age, and she always has a sour look on her face, and she's really, she's actually a really pretty lady, but she always has this dark circles and this sad cloud surrounding her and this sour look on her face. And every time I have lunch with her and her friend, all she talks about is how everyone who's disappointing her constantly. And I can tell she's just heartbroken, and she just won't admit it. Because I guess her and her husband left her, or maybe, or something. I don't know. That's just the story behind it. But the real truth is there's some reason that she can't allow herself to be happy. And she has a lot of reasons to be happy, but she can't see them. All she can see is everything that makes her unhappy constantly. And she always has that look on her face. And she always is not, like, anytime I've ever tried to just lightheartedly speak to her about anything, she always takes it to the negative place, because she can't let go of her disappointments, and she can't let go of her the ways she thinks she's always being treated wrong. And it's like I so sometimes want to sit her down and be like, I need to talk to you, you know. But I don't think it's my place to do that with everyone. And then one day I was like, maybe I could do some energy work for her. I don't know why I never thought of that. Like, because she has such a negative shield up that oh, just leave her alone at first, because I used to just people that I was like, oh my gosh, the person is so negative, stay away from them. I used to, it's like people that are scared, they put out that negative shield to keep people away because they're afraid of being hurt, right? And I know this because I used to do it. And it's like, that's how I recognize it. And so because I used to do it, I would see other people with that and I would be like, oh, they want me to stay away from them. I'll stay away from them. And I would go the other way. But now I think, what could I do for them to help them without stepping on their free will or whatever? Because you can't really step on someone's free will unless you're like somebody, if you're just a regular person and you don't have power over someone, but now I'll try to send them love. Or there's another lady I work with that's always sad, and her family is always in some drama. And at first I really tried to help her, and I was connected her with her higher self, and I sent her love and light and stuff, and it helped her for a little while. But then the next time something happened to her, she went straight back to that deep hole she dug for herself where she hides when people disappoint her. And I still try to send her love, but at the same time I thought, okay, I did a lot of stuff to help her. Now it's her turn to pull herself up out of there, And I just try to, when I'm the energy, I try to be like love energy her way. But I feel like even I have to spend my energy in places where I go, okay, that person's doing okay. I gave them some stuff. Now it's their turn to work on themselves, because sometimes people are in a holding pattern and they don't want to come out of their holding pattern, and you can't force them out. You can give them the love to cushion them so it doesn't hurt them as bad. But you can't force them to purge their own stuff. They have to purge it at their own timing.
Right.
And even I've been thankful sometimes for very small mini purging that's real slow and not so intense, because sometimes I'm like, I have a lot of stuff to do. I can't be like walking around crying, And then maybe throughout the day I'll have little moments of, oh, I have this regret, that regret. Let me work on it. Let me work on that. Oh, I have this little moments of sadness, and they're there as many purges to let go and release a little bit at a time. And I think in our society, it's like there's taboos about having depression and, oh, you're depressed. Don't be around depressed people. Take a pill and suppress yourself more. To me, being depressed is like, depressed means like push inward, like shove it down. And when you take a pill to ignore your depression, it's like you create more layers of shoving down, and you don't get it up out of you. And I always think if people could work on a little each day, and it'd be acceptable for like people to have a little downtime each day, to where they can have a little mini purge, instead of us always shoving it down. It's no wonder we get sick, and people feel like there are so many emotional problems, because I think the main emotional problem in our world is constantly shoving everything down and never letting it come out of us. And then it explodes out in a fury, like see people just like freak out because they probably couldn't hold it down anymore, you know. It exploded out of them.
Right. It'd be just the least little thing to set them off, and it will have nothing to do with what they got, what they think is setting it off. It's something deep inside of them that they need to let go.
They had an emotional cork burst. You know, the cork burst out of the bottle.
Yeah, that's like me. She reminds me. I bought some wine. I bought some wine.
Champagne.
Yeah, I got it home. I couldn't get. I don't have it. It has a cork in it.
Oh, you
I'm like, okay, I can't drink this wine. It was like $2.97. So how am I supposed to get the cork out of this? It's still in the refrigerator. So I'm like, okay, I'm either going to have to take action, go get me a corkscrew, or find an alternative way to get it open. So it's still, the cork's still in it. So I'm deflecting again.
Out with the cork is plugging
I was using that as an, what they call analogy or something, like, okay, you got wine, the cork's still in it. All I have to do is pour the cork out and drink it. But me procrastinate and not just go
a little at a time.
Yeah, and I'm like, all I have to do is quit being lazy and quit procrastinating, go to the store and buy a corkscrew and get it out.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it yet. Not facing things, reflecting things. I know it sounds silly, but that's just a way a simple way to think, okay, I bought wine, I open it, the corkscrew's in. Like, why did I buy wine that I can't get open? I wasn't paying attention. So I get home, like,
or you could have bought a corkscrew while you were buying the wine. That would have helped.
Well, see, the way it was packaged, it looked like it was just the kind you screw off. But when I got home and took it off, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a cork. I can't do this. How do I get the cork out? So I get on YouTube, trying to find alternative ways to get it open. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it because it'll be unsafe. So I'm like, I'll just wait.
And there was a video of Archangel Michael saying, you shouldn't have bought that wine in the first place. Quit drinking. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'll bust her butt. It's something I don't do very often. But I just use as an example. What happens when you stuff stuff down, like a wine bottle, you get the cork in there. If you don't take action to get that cork out, it's still stuck. You know. I was using that as an example because people that drink wine are like, oh, okay, I can relate to that. Now I know what she's talking about. Sometimes you have to give a little illustration for people to understand. Although it sounds silly, it might stick with somebody.
I took this one course one time that was a therapy course, and the lady was talking about tanking, T-A-N-K, tanking. She was saying, imagine you're a tank and you have a certain amount of liquid in your tank, and whenever you engage with another person and you connect energies with the other person, they also have a tank, and there's a certain amount of liquid in their tank. And when you engage with each other, your tanks connect all of a sudden. And if one person is suppressed in their emotions, suppressing all of their emotions and not expressing themselves and not telling the truth, and they're pushing their liquid down into further and further down in their tank, and it's squishing up into your tank. The liquid is going over into your tank because your tanks are connected now. But in this analogy, it would be energy, right? Like they're pushing their energy down, and it's filling you up, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what the heck? Why do I feel overwhelmed with emotion all of a sudden? And stuff like that. And I think that analogy made me think of people being empaths, where someone else is just, pushing all their stuff on everyone else and not dealing with their own stuff, and everyone else is freaking out, going, oh my God, why do I feel, like crying? She called that tanking another person. And so there's all these different ways that people try to find to describe what we do to each other with our emotional fields and our energy and the way we affect each other. Some people have words like calling you passive aggressive or but it's all the same thing. You're still doing the same thing to each other. you're blaming other people for all your crap that you haven't healed in yourself and expecting them to fix it for you and make amends and give you what you need when you're not even giving yourself what you need. You're not healing yourself. You're not fixing yourself. You're not dealing with your own crap. You know,
Right.
you're not letting go of your own stuff. It's like the lady I work with who cannot let go of all this crap. And she builds a story around her mountain of crap that creates more of a crap story. And she's got a pile of crap stories suffocating her. And I totally relate because I used to do the same thing. So that's why I can recognize it. But I feel so much better now that I don't do that. I work at being conscious of not doing that now. I'm not saying, oh, yeah, I figured it all out and I never do anything wrong. Ha, ha, ha. No. I still do lots of stuff wrong, but I try really hard to take care of my stuff when I recognize it right away.
Yeah.
And I still have moments where I'll catch myself when I'm feeling bad about myself, trying to blame it on like my twin flame or something like that, out of feelings of inadequacy and stuff like that. And I'll be like, boy, I need to work on this because I know that I have this bigger mission to work on, and it's more important than the fact that I feel like my butt doesn't look right or something, you know, like that's a silly example, but it's not because it's true. You know, like.
Well, there's two things that I've heard here lately, and sometimes the more you release, the more will come up. And two things that my own twin flame brought to my attention was I needed to be self-empowered. I needed to come out of the victim mentality, and I really didn't realize it was. And then I had to let go of self. I had to purge self-pity and purge being the victim, and it empowers you when you let that stuff go. Mm-hmm. You know, and it helps with your twin at the same time.
Especially if you've been doing it since you were young, or maybe even from another lifetime. You don't know, but at least since you were young, let's say, you know, you learned that, oh, if I just blame myself for everything, then other people won't have a chance to be mean to me, you know, and you start doing that to yourself from a young age to try to, as a self-defense mechanism or something, and no one ever corrects you on it or talks to you about it or helps you with it, and you make it through life that way. And so then by the time you get to be older, it has permeated your whole entire life of you dealing with other people that way and yourself that way. And even my daughter's dad, he's really good at manipulating women in particular because he started doing that with his mom when he was real young. And he gets what he wants without having to work very hard for it from women. He, you know, people give him stuff all the time because he has an act that he does with people that he knows works on people's emotional states, to where he's like, oh gosh, I wish I had a new backpack, if he sees somebody with the backpack he wants. And because he thinks it's worth it to give it a try, because they might give him their backpack. You know, if he's had friends who would just be like, I would be like, wow, where'd you get that from? And so-and-so gave it to me, you know. He'd be like, I didn't ask him for it. I just told them I really wished I had one, and they gave it to me. They're such a good friend, you know. He totally played the person because that's how he's survived his whole life. With women, especially, he's very good at playing the victim so that he can get what he wants without having to lower himself to ask for anything. And he used to always tell me, I think I should get everything free, you know. I don't see why I can't. Because the truth is that was his experience of life, is that he found that he could get lots of stuff for free if he just set up the situation in a way that played favor on him to get the things for free. And he didn't see anything wrong with it at all. And I would be like, shouldn't you give your friend their backpack back? No, they left it at my house. And then they left it here so long that they said I could just have it. I just started using it. They didn't say anything, so I kept it, But he didn't consider that stealing, And in my book, I was like, you totally stole that from your friend. You didn't give it back to them. He probably hid it at his house, so they didn't remember that it was there, That's a little off the subject of purging. But it does have a little bit of something to do with purging, because later, when he got older and that game didn't work anymore because he wasn't as cute anymore, he had to go through a lot of heavy-duty stuff, emotional baggage that he had to get rid of because people didn't trust him anymore and stuff like that. So I was like, that is totally me stretching, trying to fit that into the purging discussion.
Well, it's a good point, though. Good point.
It's just psychology is how you can go through life tricking yourself into thinking what you're doing is right. That's kind of where I was going with that, I guess. It's like,
yeah. You
keep going, your ego keeps you going, tricking you into thinking all those things you're doing, they're fine. Everything I'm doing is great. I don't need to change it. It's working for me, or whatever. And denial about that you're miserable and you're not with your twin flame in our case or something, because in my case, because of my insecurities and lack of self-worth. And that's really why I'm not with my twin flame. It's not because of any ETs and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, it is because they really screwed with me. Yeah. They can't really screw with you about anything that you don't already have. I mean, they can amplify it, and they can get you to, they can trick you into focusing on that thing so that you make a choice not to do something. But if I would have had knowledge to clean and clear all that stuff about self-worth and whatever at a really young age, or had parents who were not affected by the same afflictions, say, and could tell me to do that, that wouldn't exist. Like, that problem wouldn't exist. It would be like, you already worked on it, because it's like, even now we go, the dark energies did that and they did this and they did that. But then until you work on it, getting rid of it, you work on it, getting rid of it, and maybe you don't get all the way rid of it, but you get rid of it enough that you can overcome it so that you can make the decision you want to make to live the life you want to live. And then it's not in your way anymore. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's still there a little bit, but you're like, it's not there strong enough that it's going to block you this time. And you break free from it. You break free from it, because they can only manipulate you with something that you haven't broken free from. Right? I mean, they can only play the dark energy games because they're games. They're not real true power. They're games that mimic power over you, because really, as advanced beings, we have infinite power. We have so much power. But the only reason we don't use our power sometimes, or don't have our power sometimes, is because we're mentally tricked into thinking that we don't have it. It's not that the power left us, really.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I think that this is something I've just been learning a little by little as I've gone and I've tried out some things, and I've cleared the clearing of the dark energies, cleared my mind enough so that I could look at myself and go, oh, there I am. Oh, yeah, I'm bigger than the whole universe, Wow, I forgot. How did I forget that about myself, It's part of the awakening and the emerging as the butterfly or whatever. Emerge into your power, butterfly, your Pokemon. Butterfly.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure there's a Pokemon that looks like a butterfly. It has some sort of
my
power.
God.
It's like,
Oh, my.
I've seen it on there when my daughter was watching Pokemon. So I found a way to bring it back to Pokemon. My daughter would be really proud of me right now. She'd be like, yes, I knew you were the best mom in the whole world. Oh my gosh. Do you have any Pokemon analogies?
No. It's been a long time. My kids were little when they had a Pokemon. One's 30 and one's 26, so I don't know how far back it
I
goes.
know. My nephew is 20 years old, and he used to watch Pokemon when he was like 5. That was 15
Oh,
years ago.
God. Yeah.
And did I do that math right? Yes, I did. I knew math would come in handy. Yeah, when my daughter started liking it, I was like, are you really? I did not see that coming. She's even like a year ago, she's like, Pokemon is so boring. Anyway, I think when we're talking about Pokemon, it's time to end the conversation.
Yeah.
The purging talk is over.
Oh, yeah. So, this is Angela, and this is Andrea. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Anybody that's coming in for the first time, we're here to serve you, to be a support to you, because me and her are a support to each other, and it makes a big, big difference in your twin flame journey. If you got somewhere you can go and discuss things, and where somebody can relate and knows what you're talking about.
Definitely helps a lot, and we're willing to help anyone any way we can. So if you want to talk to us about anything, I'm going to put the website below, all of our videos, and our email. Email us. And I mean, there's certain things that we do as a service. You can make a donation, because we do want to keep our website going, and it's okay to charge a little money for things that services if you're spending a lot of yourself and your time doing it. And I think it's hard in this industry or whatever. It's hard I always want to help people, everyone, just for free. But then life comes in and it's like, you got to pay for this website hosting and that and that. So we do have some services that I think are pretty reasonably priced and stuff that you could try out if you want us to help you in that way. So I would just watch our videos and share our videos and subscribe and like them. That'd be awesome. You have anything else you want to say? And listen to Cupid Poetry's music, because it's really awesome. Angela has some really awesome original music. Go to our website and go to her page. We have a page on there that says inspirational music. That's her music, and check it out. And we've got a page with blogs where if we channel something or just have some thoughts that we write out, we put them on the blog. And then we also have a poetry page. Right now it's mostly my poetry on there. You could submit some poetry to us. If it's we kind of try to keep short poetry on there that's twin flame related. So let us know. That'd be so cool. You could sign up on our mailing list, and we'll let you know when we do new things. We're trying to start a little community of people. Right, Angela?
Yeah, we're here to help, and I want to thank you, Andrew, for all the hard work that you put into this.
Thank you. You're welcome. I really feel happy that I did it, and there were some moments where I thought, I can't get it finished. It's still a work in progress. But I feel really proud of myself that I put together that website and everything. So it's cool. And I feel proud of you for sticking in there with me.
Oh, yeah.
Being my friend, even though I was like telling you all this stuff you probably didn't want to hear. Love hearts
Well, you
to
taught me to
everybody.
quit the collecting stuff, so that I learned a lesson there. Stop that. Why do you keep saying this over and over and over and over and over?
It wasn't me.
Get it up and out.
That was like the divine wanting both of us to get that message. I guarantee you that much. They want us to keep going. That's the thing, is like you just have to keep going forward, and it gets better. It feels like it's not going to, but it does. And
Oh, yeah.
your life gets so much better, and it's really cool. So anyway, I love everybody, and I'm sending love hearts to everybody. Big love hearts to you, Angela.
I send love and light to everyone. We're here to serve you. I'm Angela.
And I'm Andrea. Twin Sisters
Network. Yay! We
Yay!
rock.
Have an awesome day, night, whatever, week. Bye, girl. Love you.
Bye. Love you too.